You're taking somebody else's culture and you're inserting yourself. It's the most racist, hypocritical thing you could possibly do. Look, in 1625, there was probably only one white guy in the entire continent, and you're gonna make the game about him? Huh? Guys, spend 2 seconds actually talking to a Japanese historian and y'all wouldn't have made these mistakes. What's going on, guys? So I'm sure y'all saw the news that Ubisoft is closing down a bunch of studios because of all of their failed titles recently. And the larger topic, of course, that I want to talk about in this video is Assassin's Creed Shadows, but I kind of want to start here just to show y'all that, guys, all this stuff that we're talking about in videos with the forced DEI, it affects people's lives at the end of the day. So I know we joke about this stuff, but people have lost jobs because they're pushing this gay, communist, satanic BlackRock degeneracy, where they're putting ugly women in games. They're forcing diversity. They're forcing their leftist global homo politics. There's real consequences to this, and people are really losing their jobs because these ideologies, these awful ideologies, are getting so baked so deeply into companies. So as we see here, Ubisoft had to close a company in Leamington, and they lost 185 employees. And even back in October, there's been talks that Ubisoft is going to be bought by Tencent. And, you know, it might mean that Splinter Cell and all these celebrated IPs are going to come back as Chinese spyware games filled with microtransactions. But I mean, at least they'll probably give us what we want in these games rather than Western developers who seem dead set on giving us what we don't want. It also made me think of, you know, I played a decent amount of Skull and Bones, and like you had this ugly lesbian crew that just looked bombed out and depleted, as they would have said in Chappelle's Show. Why, guys? Like what is this trash, dude? Like, Ubisoft, what are y'all doing? Guys, I'm one of the biggest Ubisoft fans of all time. I've put 1,200 hours into The Division. I loved Far Cry 2. I loved the Splinter Cell games. I love the old Rainbow Six games. I'm a huge Ubisoft fanboy, and so it's sad to see this company going down like this. Let's jump into the present here and talk about the Assassin's Creed Shadows drama. So last week, Assassin's Creed Shadows director says recent delay was to polish parkour, especially on super complex roofs. This is kind of what pisses me off the most about the Ubisoft stuff, is they're being so intentionally dishonest about what the obvious problem is. Guys, it's obvious that with your woke BS politics, you rammed in a non-historical black samurai. So just talk about it. Like, if Ubisoft came out and said, guys, we screwed up, we fixed the game, it's historical now, we're sorry, I promise y'all this game would sell really well. But it's this dishonesty, and it's this we saw this with Jean-Marc Cotier, just with all his corporate BS speak at that conference that he did. Guys, just be straight with us, dude. Stop lying. It's like they've taken lies and they're piling lies on top of lies on top of lies. And here they are caught again. March 2024, May 2024. This was the launch poster for Assassin's Creed Shadows. And oh, interesting, we've moved Yasuke to the back now, and they have apparently like a Chungus trans character in the game now. And it's I think it's really the dishonesty. I think people wouldn't mind this game so much if they made it absurd. Like, think about Final Fantasy VII. Final Fantasy VII has a black guy in it. Nobody cares because it's not trying to be a historical game. So if Ubisoft was just transparent about that and they said, you know, we put a black guy in the game because we thought it was fun and we're not even going to pretend that this game is historical, I think they could have gotten away with that. But as it is now, the fact that they tried to paint it as some kind of a historical game, that's what people are getting pissed off about. This was another thing that happened last week. So apparently, Nick Tech here says they tried to pet the dog in Assassin's Creed Shadows, and the game bugged out. and then the real Assassin's Creed the real Assassin's Creed account said, "Note to self: make work in progress appear larger." Guys, your game is supposed to come out in 2 weeks, and y'all have a bugging out dog in the game. Let's kind of zoom in here, and I want to actually talk about what's going on here, and really what's going on here at the end of the day. And I want to get into the YouTuber that they tried to cancel, and we're going to talk about a lot of stuff here. But what's really going on at the end of the day is woke racism, and I define this as It's not racist when we do it. They can absolutely pillage properties that have white people in it. They'll take Spider-Man, they'll make the entire cast black and trans and gay degenerates. They'll take all the characters in Spider-Man, they'll make white characters black. They'll take Captain America, make him black. They'll take Nick Fury and make him black. They'll take Ariel and make her black. They'll take Doctor Who and make him black. They'll take Henry and make him gay. They'll push their gay tranny nonsense in Last of Us. And then finally, they'll try to convince you that women can be Witchers, which we know from the lore of the Witcher games is not true. And can y'all imagine if we did this? I mean, I say we as white people, but can you imagine if we took Friday? You know, I know black people love this movie Friday and Next Friday. Can you imagine if we redid Friday and put a bunch of white people in it? Like that is essentially what's been going on here for the past 10 or 20 years, and we're sick of it, dude. And the funny thing is, it's not black people who are doing this stuff. As we'll see in a second here, it's white people who are doing this trash. So this is their tactic. They take white characters and they blackwash them for no reason. So they erase white people because they fundamentally hate white people and they want to turn them black. And you come in and you say, "Hey, you're changing the original story." And they say it's racist for you to want to honor history. You know, history is racist. Telling a story correctly is racist. And that's what people like this do. And isn't it funny that these are always the people at the front? It's always these degenerate leftists who are like pro-abortion and pro-gay communism and pro-child murder and can't keep their legs closed and just want to kill as many babies as possible. It's always these disgusting women who are at the front. But guys, we have their ticket. We know who we're talking about here. We know who these people are. They're animated by Satan. They work for BlackRock. And this is kind of a classic communist, with Karl Marx here. This is a classic communist trick. Accuse your enemy of what you're doing as you're doing it to create confusion. It's the perfect crime. You are performing racist actions. They're doing racist things. But then when people say, "Hey, why are you blackwashing all of our comics?" You say, "Oh, you're being racist." And so it's gaslighting people. It creates confusion. And guys, who is the father of lies and the father of chaos and the father of confusion but Satan himself? And so that's why y'all think I'm an old Christian grandma for saying this, but these people are animated by Satan and they're demonic. They're pro-LGBTQ, they're pro-trans, and they're pro-child murder because they're accusing you of the very thing that they're doing. And guys, I don't care if you're in Saudi Arabia, if you're in England, if you're European, or if you're Japanese, beware people who hate your history. Because if you live in Europe, I want to celebrate your history. If you live in Japan, I want to celebrate your history and I want to tell it correctly. But these people hate your history. They hate you and they want to erase your history and they want to blackwash it. So just to back up here, in case you stumbled across this video and you're not aware of the controversy at all. So all of this began May 2024 with the Assassin's Creed Shadows trailer launching. And it had, Yasuke here and One or Noe, whatever the heck her name is. And why did 66% of the people who watched this video immediately dislike it? Think about that. Why would they do that? And I think the obvious reason why is that, number one, we've wanted an Assassin's Creed Japan game for a long time. And Ubisoft thinks you guys are stupid. Ubisoft thinks people are stupid, but we're not. People know that we've wanted an Assassin's Creed Japan game for a really long time, and they immediately see the blackwashing that's happening. They see that you're taking a Japanese character and you're turning them black for absolutely no effing reason other than because you're a gay communist Satanist. What I tried to do with this meme is perfectly explain the issue. Nobody is against black people in games. Nobody is against Japanese people. We are pro all of these things, but when we finally get an Assassin's Creed Japan game and saying, "Oh, surprise, the main samurai is black," this would be exactly like if they finally made an Assassin's Creed Africa game and they said, "Surprise, the main guy that is a badass and becomes a chief Zulu warrior, oh, he's white." Look, in 1625, there was probably only one white guy in the entire continent, and you're gonna make the game about him? Huh? Like what? It's so obvious. Their leftist gay communist politics are so obviously seeping into the game that it's pathetic. And this is what people are reacting to. Guys, I love the YouTube like and dislike meter, and I'm sure they've had bots to swing this even more in their favor. But the thing that I love about the like and dislike meter is it tells the truth. It gives people's immediate gut reaction, and people did not want this because it's absurd. You know, several people have compared this to Resident Evil 5 and Far Cry 2, and they said, oh, well, you were a white savior in Resident Evil 5. You were a white savior in Far Cry 2. No, you were just a mercenary in Far Cry 2 who came in and killed a bunch of people. Same with Chris Redfield in RE5. You were just a mercenary and you came in and killed a bunch of zombies. What would be true is if you came in as Chris Redfield or the guy from Far Cry 2 and you were crowned like the Zulu prince, if you immediately became like, oh, he's the greatest white chief savior, and he is a Zulu chief now, that would be a fair comparison of what they're trying to do here with Yasuke in the samurai game. What I finally want to get to here is it historical? This is really the important question here. Is Yasuke a historical figure? And absolutely not. And we have it from this guy, Shohei. He goes by Shohei Kondo on YouTube, and I'm going to link his video in my video description here. This dude is awesome, and he's giving absolutely deft cultural analysis, and he's explaining how Ubisoft is being so racist against Japanese people in this video. So his video actually got taken down. Ubisoft tried to do a strike on his video to get his video taken down because he scorched them so bad at his video. So I'm just going to take a couple screenshots from what he said. Here he's watching one of their ridiculous developer commentaries, and he comes out and says it. There is no evidence that Yasuke was a samurai. They're acting like he's this known soldier and assassin, and that's all he does. When he was a slave, dude. He was a slave and an oddity, and there's absolutely no evidence that the guy was a samurai. And here you're hearing it from somebody who's actually Japanese who can read this language and knows all this stuff. Another funny thing that he pointed out in the videos, guys, spend 2 seconds actually talking to a Japanese historian and y'all wouldn't have made these mistakes. But what he points out is that I forgot the name. This is a kind of wheat. It's a kind of a plant, and it would look like this in September. But then the pink cherry blossoms would only look that way in April. And they've combined it, of course, in one image here. Because what he keeps calling them is tourists. Because they're tourists. They don't know anything about actual Japanese culture. They just know, oh, that was in an anime. So let's put it in a game and let's put a black guy in there too, because that's cool. If they wanted to make up an absurd fictional world, nobody would have cared. But it's the fact that they pretended that this was historical. That's what pissed people off so much. Here was another quote that he read. We were first looking for someone who could be our samurai. In other words, someone who could become our eyes despite not being Japanese. And Shohei describes this as racist as F. Because, look, to go back to Friday, this is exactly what's happening with Friday. You're taking somebody else's culture and you're inserting yourself. It's the most racist, hypocritical thing you could possibly do. You're taking Spider-Man is a white character. Mary Jane was a white woman. You're taking somebody else's culture and you're inserting yourself. And as I said earlier, most black people I've talked to don't want this crap. It's white people and it's BlackRock people it's people like this who are pushing this junk. Most black people that I know don't even want a black Captain America. They want black characters, but they don't want to take a white character and turn him black. The story of Little Mermaid, written by Hans Christian Andersen in 1837. And then, what? She's a black girl now? Like, what? So, guys, I hope that y'all are seeing the pattern here. They take your culture, they take your history, and they insert their quote unquote oppressed, quote unquote minority. And we say that's not the story, and they say you're racist. And what it does is it creates confusion, it creates chaos, And that's exactly what Satan wants, because Satan and all of the goyim, if you know what I'm talking about, they want to create chaos. They want to turn people against each other. They want to create racial strife. It's these people. Y'all know exactly who I'm talking about. They want to create chaos because they thrive on chaos, because they're animated by Satan at the end of the day. And I find it so funny when people say white people have no culture. Have you heard people say this? White people have no culture. Dog, Western civilization is our culture. We created cars. We created electricity. We created beautiful little European towns. We created knights. And I'm not saying white culture is superior. Everybody has their own different culture. But to say that white people have no culture, bud, we created Western civilization. What are you talking about? This was another quote here from something that Ubisoft said. They said, "We're showing real historical figures such as Oda Nobunaga and a lot of events that happened during that time. So you're not only playing in feudal Japan, but learning about this fantastic time period." Look, if Ubisoft had just admitted what they were doing, if they said, "Look, we want to make a George Floyd simulator. We want to insert we want to insert a black guy in a game because we're gay communists." If they had just come out and said that, then we would have been fine with it. It would have been like Final Fantasy VII. Okay, you want to put a black guy in a game, that's fine. But it's the fact that they pretended that it was historical that made this thing so messed up. Shohei said this really good. He said, "Don't use the idea of black as a shield, Ubisoft." And then this dude to come in and insert a black guy for no reason and do a terrible job of representing someone's history, and for them to call you racist in response, and then you just call them malicious and hateful. It's so crappy, dude. Because like I said earlier, accuse your enemy of what you're doing to create confusion. That's exactly what the CEO of Ubisoft is doing here. He's doing something incredibly racist with his game, and yet he's accusing you of racism. So it's racist as F. He finally here, Shohei was going through some comments on the Ubisoft trailer that I found particularly funny. And so this is Shohei just literally reading YouTube comments directly off of the channel, reacting to the trailer, and he's just translating on the fly here. And somebody said Ubi is a racist company that discriminates against Japanese people. Very true. Somebody else said discriminating against Asians to elevate black people is wrong. Absolutely, it is. Somebody else said it seems Japan is not included in the concept of diversity. Ooh, all the Marxists and the gay communists and the LGBTQ. I'm sure that one cuts deep for him right there. And 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 this last comment was amazing. Somebody said, "Why do we have to be killed to the rhythm of rap?" See, because when they see this game, they just see a black guy in Japan killing a bunch of Japanese people, which is on its face looks super racist. Just to end here, the legacy media cucks will always come out to defend the legacy media cuck game. And of course, you have absolute beta cucks who wear women's dresses, who sit in the corner while their wife is being pleasured by another man. Cucks like Steven Totillo. "I played Assassin's Creed Shadows yesterday and can confirm that it has excellent bamboo slicing tech. I'll have more coverage of the game in GameFile probably tomorrow." George Alexopoulos, I don't know how to say his name. He always has great comments. He said, "Wow, technology from 12 years ago. Amazing." Here's another cuck take from PC Gamer. "I played 6 hours of Assassin's Creed Shadows, and folks, I think this one was worth the wait. There's a lot riding on Shadows for Ubisoft, and it's making a fantastic first impression." Yeah, guys, these are such cope takes. If you look at anything online that's that's positive about the game, it's immediately getting destroyed by comments, because everybody is super pissed about this game. Absolutely nobody wants this game. People are seeing through it as the virtue signaling that it is. We're seeing through it as the racism against Japanese people that it is, and it needs to burn. And finally, I'll just end with this, y'all. Here's your Ubisoft Japanese girl, bro. This is what happens when you let wokies and when you let cucks and when you let male feminists infect a company like Ubisoft. And Go look back at my interview with that guy, the guy up in Canada who worked at Ubisoft for 11 years, the French guy I talked to. I mean, he saw it. He saw it firsthand. And it's just sad that leftists, guys, at the end of the day, leftists are the enemy. And they come in and they infect these companies. And we simply want video games to go back to how they were in the 90s and the 2000s. I'm okay with edgy, inoffensive games. I just want games to go back to the way they were. Masculine characters, feminine characters, beautiful feminine characters. That's all we want. So I'm going to get out of here. Bye, y'all.